So what is going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another zombies video where today we are looking at the history of the ghost in Buried. Let me know in the comment section below which characters you would like to know the history of. Make sure you drop a like rating if you do enjoy the video by the end. It's always appreciated. Make sure you are subscribed, but let's get into it. Here we go. Enjoy. Back in the year 1885, in a frontier mining town located in the Old West, lived a man called Jebediah Brown. Having been brought to this town by his mother at the age of just 10 years old, she hoped it would give them a chance at a new life.
The day's the 14th of April, the year of our Lord 1885. A day I will hold dear until my last. I have done and spent 30 years of my life in Purgatory Point. My ma brought me out here when I was but 10 years young. She hoped to give us a chance at a new life. They're good folk here in Purgatory Point. Sure, sometimes they get a little rowdy, and maybe we strayed too far from heaven's gaze, but what do you expect from a frontier mining town?
One day, one of the miners named Clive Farnsworth wandered down into the mines. However, he didn't return until 10 days later. When he came back up, he was changed. He was acting like a feral animal. He became rabid and carnivorous. His mind was gone, his flesh all sallow and bloody, his eyes blazing a red light. Clive had become zombified from the 115 that was down in the mines. When he returned back to the town, now a zombie, the first home that Clive came across was Jebediah's mother's, where she ran out to meet him, and when she did, Clive jumped on her and ripped her throat out. And with Jeb's mother now dead, the townsfolk shot Clive before laying her to rest.
Something happened to one of the miners. Clive Farnsworth, a good man, came by the shop a few times. Anyway, he went down into that mine, stayed down there for 10 days. When he came back up, he was changed. They say he was like a feral animal, rabid and carnivorous. His mind was gone, his flesh all sallow and bloody, his eyes ablaze in a red light. First home he stumbled upon was me and Ma's. I was at the shop at the time. Ma went out to meet him, and Clive, Doc said it happened quick. Clive jumped on her, ripped her throat. Old Bill ran over, put two through Clive's skull, shot him dead, like a dog. But Ma, she's been laid to rest now. She'll rise up to heaven, and bless her soul, she'll be greeted with open arms. That mine, they've been digging for that blue rock. Some folks say you stare too long, you'll find the devil in it. I need answers. I need to understand what happened. I'll head down to that mine tomorrow.
Wanting to get more answers on what happened to Clive, what caused him to kill his mother, Jebediah headed down into the mines himself, and when he did, just like Clive, he was down there for 5 days. Although he felt like he was there for 5 hours, he wasn't. After returning back to the town, later that night Jeb had a vision. Two angels came to him where they told him he needs to be ready to prepare for what was coming. What was coming, they wouldn't tell him, but how to prepare, they would. They told him to build a machine that would grant him great power, specifically a weapons upgrade device that we know as the Pack-a-Punch. The two angels guided Jeb on how to build it. The way they described it sounded like an oven or a kiln. After creating the Pack-a-Punch, Jebediah's invention was the talk of the town. People would come from far and wide, eager for a chance to upgrade their firearms. Jeb would continue to pray every night, thanking the heavens for sending the two angels. That was until finally they returned to him. However, this time they wished him to build another machine that they called the Argothan device. They told Jeb it has the power to grant that which one truly desires. Jebediah replied to them that he was their servant now, and that in order to build this, he needed 3 things: the blood of an elder god, an elemental shard, and a metallic vessel to harness and carry both. Jeb wasn't able to acquire the blood or the elemental shard, however, being a blacksmith, he was able to make the metal vessel, and so that's exactly what he did. But soon enough, the whole town began to change. Jeb continued to pray to the heavens, where he told them he has a confession. He fears he is the architect of his own damnation. The town is cursed. The devil himself has possessed the people. Folk have begun to act crazy, having paranoia, seeing visions, things that aren't there, and the violence. 7 people had been killed within the last 5 days. The sheriffs don't know what's going on, but Jeb knew it was all down to the mine and the element 115 that was down there.
The day's the 21st of July, the year of our Lord, 1885. I have a confession. I am burdened with sin. I fear I am the architect of my own damnation. This town is cursed. The devil himself has possessed our people. Folk have been acting all kinds of crazy, paranoia, visions, seeing things that ain't there. And the violence. 7 dead in the last 5 days. Sheriff don't know what's gotten into these people. But I know it. It's that damned mine. Them blue rocks. Doc believes them to be meteors from the sky, from up in the stars. Maybe from heaven. But whatever the cause, I fear the disease that consumes this town has gotten to me as well.
Jebediah then begins to fear that the disease that has consumed the town has also gotten him. He tells the angels that last night he felt overcome with loss and grief, and so went to see his mother in the cemetery after drinking a bottle of whiskey, and he dug her up. He then took her body back into the town, back into his shop where he keeps the pack-a-punch machine, and he put her inside of it. Jebediah pack-a-punched his mother, and instead of coming back out, she vanished. And so confused, Jebediah stumbled home in a daze, but when he arrived at his house, before his very eyes, he saw an apparition, a spirit, one that looked just like his mother, only she was younger. He told the heavens she now floats around the house, where occasionally he catches her playing the piano.
Last night, I felt overcome with loss and grief. I went to see Ma at the cemetery. Maybe it was a whiskey. Maybe it was delirium. I can't say, but I dug her up and took her into town. I took her to my shop where I kept the machine. I don't know what came over me. Like something took control of my body, like a puppet on strings. I put her in the machine. I don't know why. Maybe it would bring her back to me. But she vanished. Nothing came back out. I stumbled home in a daze. But as I arrive, I see before my eyes, I see an apparition. A spirit. It looks just like her, only when she was younger. She floats around the house now. I catch her playing the piano. The angels. They came back to me again. I've built the metal carriage just as they asked. Only one thing left to do now. Upgrade it with my machine.
So this finally reveals to us that the ghost in the house, some of us used to call her a witch, but she is a ghost, is Jebediah's mother from 1885. She was killed by one of the miners after he turned into a zombie, and once she was buried, 2 angels came from the heavens to visit her son, Jebediah Brown, where they told him to build the pack-a-punch machine, which he did, and then a few days later, when drunk, Jeb decided to dig his mother up, place her body into the pack-a-punch machine, where she vanished, and as he was stumbling home, she reappeared as a ghost who now floats around her house and occasionally plays the piano. So this house right here belongs to Jebediah and his mother. That finally explains all these years later her backstory. Of course, there are Easter eggs where you can catch her playing the piano. She also says a few quotes like, "I am the lady of the house." And of course, as Jeb says, when she died and came back, she is now much younger than she was when she was killed. So there we go. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed this backstory video. If you have, drop a like rating. Let me know which characters you want to see next on the channel. Make sure you are subscribed, leave your comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, goodbye.